3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Has-Beens, presented by 10K Takes, brought to you always by the Chill Boys. And you can go on www.chillboys.com, and listeners, you can type in HB15 to get 15% off your first order from the Chill Boys. Get your underwear, socks made out of bamboo. This week, it's going to be a little different. We had a surprise appearance from a special guest, only had him for a short period of time, about 3 minutes. His name is Colton Sanderson. He's a busy man, but we did get him on for 3 minutes there. But I am joined by Max Veech, Trevor Olson, and our producer, Jack Mason, as always. Little bit of a different week, this little bit of different episode, I should say, and week. We don't have a guest. We're just doing predictions for the college slate. We're going to talk some college hockey. We're also going to talk some hockey day in Minnesota. We're going to make our predictions for those games because those games will be on TV. Everyone can watch them. You can ride with us or not. And then we're going to talk some NHL. And I did send out a tweet that I want people to start messaging me on Twitter or wherever it is. If you're listening, just message me your nail gun of the weeks and candy asses of the week. I want to read them off each week just to see what people are saying. I think it'd be funny to hear from you guys, the listeners, but let's get into the episode here. Let's go over our weekend recap by Beauty Status. And folks, Beauty Status is an authentic Minnesota hockey brand. T-shirts, head covers, stickers for the man cave, flags, polos. They've got it all. Good Minnesota hockey stuff for all the fans out there. Go and check out Beauty Status on all socials. Their website is www.beautystatishky.com. Ols, what'd you get up to on the weekend?
Yeah, as you can see for the viewers and listeners that tune in, visually, I have a new background. We have officially moved into the new house. We've got our first 2 nights under our belts. So it's been a lot of moving clothes and things of that nature. And we also worked on the kitchen. We finally got the appliances all set up, so it looks like we have a kitchen that we can cook in now. So things are starting to come together, but pretty laid back weekend in regards to everything else, just kind of some house cleaning stuff.
Love that. That's got to be a hell of a feeling moving into your first house, with the fiance. Pretty life moments you're going through. Things you'll probably look back on. It's probably actually more of a grind than enjoyment moving in, but you'll look back on it and be like, fuck, that was awesome. But
yeah. See, the thing is, to me, is like in all these movies and everything, they're laughing and spraying like fucking whipped cream on each other and they're having a fucking grand old time. And it's just not fucking real. I love my fiance to death. I mean, at one point she wanted to grab me by the throat and just tear it out. Like it's not real. It's not really fun, but I hope that we can look back at some point and just enjoy it because it's been kind of a grind. But yeah, we're getting
yeah, that's it'd be funny to see this true story. It's like everyone thinks it's your Instagram life. You're taking the pictures like, yeah, this just in the background, actual real life's like, you fucking kidding me? God damn it.
They're laughing and they're listening to music and they're throwing cardboard boxes at each other and like having this grand old time. And like Shelby just wants to fucking whack me over the head with a fucking broom or some shit. Oh, it's awful. It's awful, but we're getting there.
Yeah, that's good. Veech, what'd you get up to this weekend?
Oh boy, I was out with the boys on Friday for a little while, came home to find the girl and 2 of her friends sitting in the living room having a little PowerPoint session where they were sharing all of the dates they've been on recently, and they were power ranking all of these different poor guys that were sitting up there and pointing out all their flaws and nitpicking everything that goes wrong with them. And if I was a single guy and I walked into that, I would have felt the most insecure I've ever been in my life. But as a bystander who was, happily engaged to one of the ladies there, it was a little bit of fun. I'll admit it. Poking a little bit of fun myself. Sorry I couldn't stick by my fellow guys for the entirety of it.
It's always fun. It's always fun. I always think about when people see me walking into a place like, look at this fucking douchebag.
Oh, yeah.
I always laugh. It's everyone does it. It's a fun thing to do.
It was like people watching through the screen and through their stories. But after that, Saturday, got up bright and early, went out with a bunch of the 10K guys. We had the Boot Hockey Classic at the Xcel Energy Center. There was 12 teams. I think we placed fourth, went undefeated in pool play, and then got our ass kicked in bracket play in the next two games there. So we were at a little bit of an unfair advantage in those games. We were playing against, D1 hockey players like you guys that, had signed up for a higher division that they ended up canceling just because there were fewer teams that signed up than they had expected. But hell of a lot of fun. But that led to Sunday. I paid for it. Getting out of bed, the hips were just rough shape. Yeah. I could not really move. Like, you think that you're sore after skating for a while, but the amount of diggers you take on the ice in boots, because it's nowhere near as easy as skating, in my opinion. You don't have any balance. You're constantly just using those hip flexor muscles. It was a different world, but it was a lot of fun.
Was that a sober venture, or were you guys having some extra curriculars as well?
There was a couple of beers being passed around as well. So it makes the balance that much harder.
When you're playing was it boot hockey or broom
boot
ball?
Hockey.
So are you playing with a stick and then a tennis ball or a puck?
So they had what they called hockey balls. It's the size of a tennis ball, but it's just hard plastic basically. But everything else was, you had to wear elbow pads, shin pads. They strongly recommended the nut cup, and I would if you go there again, just because so many people are falling.
I have to nowadays.
Yeah,
I can't risk. Now, I can't risk the one.
Yeah. But we had, most goalies were there in full equipment, and, not being on skates, you can't really do any sort of movement laterally. So you were really relying on the passes between you and some of the other guys out there. And it was difficult, but it was a lot of fun.
I used to play, my dad used to put up a rink in my backyard and used to have real life boards from the old rink, from the rink in East Grand Forks. Actually, they had gotten new boards, and we had taken the old ones, and my dad put them up in the back and used it as a skate. Obviously skated, but my dad was a basketball and football player growing up, so he doesn't really know how to skate. So he'd always be out there in his boots. So we'd always play boot hockey, and it was honestly a lot of the times it was a lot more fun playing boot hockey than on skates, because you're all kind of on even ground. You can't really move at all,
Right.
Those games are so much fun.
Unless you've got a couple of snipers out there, there's nobody that's a superstar, because there's nobody that can skate around anybody. You get to go in a straight line, and your momentum carries you there. There's no turning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm jealous. I wish I would have went to that. Thing.
It was good. Fun. I would highly recommend it to anybody that thinks about it next year. You do kind of got to look for it, or scope out their page a little bit, because they didn't advertise it very well, or not a ton of places, I should say. But if you can get in next year, well worth it.
That's awesome. Mace, what did you get up to this weekend?
So on Friday, had some boys over, told them we were going to watch the Gopher hockey game, but I made them watch the Sioux game with me. Had some beers, and then went over to the Bulldog and played some darts. Not really sure if I won or lost. Can't really remember that part, but Saturday went skiing for most of the day, and then watched the football games at night, so it was pretty fun. And then Sunday had the fellows over again, watched football, and then we brought up my VR headset and played some VR on the main floor.
What is VR? Is that getting good now? Or are those games pretty fun?
Oh, it's a blast, dude. Especially if you have a couple drinks. It's a great time.
What game are you playing on there?
So recently I have Super Hot, which is one of the main ones everyone always plays. So time only moves when you move, and then you have to shoot the bad guys. But one that I just got this weekend was called Kill Shot. It's kind of like Beat Saber, Guitar Hero, but there's like a song that plays, and then you got to kill people to the beat of the music and like get through the level. It's pretty sick.
I've seen that one. They got like the old Western kind of style cowboy stuff. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
You're just dancing, shooting people.
dude, it's fun. You get into it. I mean, I was like rolling on the ground. I was diving. Like one of the best ones though from the weekend was a Spider-Man game. I fell over during that one because we were going from like building to building, and I just took a fall.
That's true. Like, have you ever tried to stand on one foot with your eyes closed? It's so much harder than when you have them open. You're just balanced and like you don't know where you are. That's hilarious. Can't wait till we get to Ready Player One and we've got like a rope hanging from the ceiling so you can't fall and you're just running on a treadmill.
That would be sick. That's what we were talking about. The next step is getting those treadmills. That'd be the next.
Pretty soon, there's just no need to go outside anymore. We just got robots doing everything, and we're just on our ropes in our living rooms, just running around.
So I pull up. So there's Google Earth on the VR, and you can go anywhere in the world. I give it to my buddy. He goes to Uptown and looks at our house. You could go to Paris. You could go to Beijing. You could go anywhere, and he goes to Lyndale Ave.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those walking videos on YouTube. Like you can go through Dubai or all these other different places, and it's like it only moves while you're walking in there, which seems cool. Like it's a good idea if you like can't go out and exercise or whatever. You've got like 10 minutes, you want to just see something new. But to choose that location that you've seen 100 times, that's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Person habit. I love it. That's unreal. Good weekend.
Dusky,
fella,
you're on the has-beens right now.
Oh baby.
Yeah, we're recording right now. What do you got for me?
Just checking in. East Grand Forks Green Wave just got off the ice. We got better today, and wanted to get your take.
You know what? This is going to take me about an hour here, and I would love to talk some strategy and talk shop about the East Grand Forks High School team. I've been involved. I've actually let the listeners know I've been involved with the team a little bit this season, so I would like to catch up with you and see how practice went.
I love that. We did skills today. The boys got better. Nick Corbett's still not using any tape on his stick, so I don't know what we're going to do about that, but he seems to be playing well despite of the fact that he's got no tape on his stick. I'm sure he'll be listening in because he likes to hear what you have to say always.
Yeah, for sure. And the Corbett, he's actually a fucking good player. But yeah, that's recently he hasn't been putting tape on the sticks. We've been wondering, who you've been watching, what's going on here. But, to each their own, obviously.
I'm looking for the player comparison to the NHL still that has no tape, and maybe I don't watch enough professional hockey. You're too busy watching UND or high school in Minnesota, or obviously you got to watch some Saskatchewan AAA back home, but I haven't seen that player out there yet I can compare for him.
Yeah, no, we're still looking for that guy. Doesn't put tape on the stick.
There's no many guys out there that are putting up about 50 apples with no tape on their stick. Let me know. But the boys miss you day out there, Ozzy. The D always get better when you're out there, so we'll hopefully get you back when you're not recording.
Yeah, I'll definitely get out there as well. And I've been starting to feel good. I even started. I don't know if my surgeon wants to hear this, but I started working today, so. I'm just a nail gun like that. So,
did you give yourself nail gun of the week then?
Ols gave it to me. I had to pay him $5, but I got him on recording calling me the nail gun of the week last week. So,
Snub Al Pearson, guy leaves the hospital, make to the rink to give it to yourself. But you know what? You are a warrior, so I'll allow it.
All right, thanks, Dusk. I'll see you in about an hour.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. Bye. I just an announcement. I texted Perp to see if he was just around. If he's around, I told him he could pop in whenever he wants. So
love that.
The listeners might be hearing from Perp as well. we can listen to him talk about Minnesota Hockey Day and shit. But I guess on my weekend, the big bad Bulldogs came into town. Very, very exciting weekend for myself, obviously, with you got NFL Saturday, Sunday, big games, and we got the Bulldogs in town. I didn't go to the game on Friday, but I love this series, like always have, always will. Probably my favorite series that comes to town nowadays. And you know what? It was amazing because I go to the Ralph on Saturday, and the place is fucking packed. And these, you know what? They don't have a good record. Duluth doesn't have a good record, and this arena is just fucking juiced. Like it's sick. It's unbelievable. It's great to see. I was proud to see that. Obviously, the Bulldogs come out with the win there. 2 minutes left in the game. Heartbreaker for the crowd. Great for Veech just to get that split there. Just two kind of right now sorry teams fucking just coming out with a split, handshake, well done, you fucking losers. Nice job this year. No, it was got to go to that game. It was Matt Green's last shift. So, a lot different. Greener for the people, I've gotten to know. I've got his hat on right now with the Max Foundation. Izzy Marvin gave it to me, but was fortunate to get to know Greener a little bit over the years. I've been going to the Ralph. He's been there a few times. It was a little different than Ed Belfour's last shift. Ed Belfour's last shift was about 4 laps around the zone and went to the net and took off his jersey, and had the Sioux jersey on. And Greener pops out, skates 1 lap at a very average speed, arms in the air, high fives the guy, goes to the blue line and just stops there. Different guy than Ed Belfour, but he's a legend. Got to hang out with him up in the suite that night, and there's a bunch of ex-Sioux players there hanging out, having a good time. So pretty special weekend there. And then after that, kind of just went home. Had a long week, so went home and Sunday watched football. Had myself a good Sunday, and then here we are. So that was my weekend. But great to see you just love to see the fans showing up, even with these two teams.
That's unreal.
It's electric.
I love it. I hope there was some good representation from the Bulldogs up there. I know it's like a little bit of a drive, but there was no weather this weekend. There's not a lot going on in Duluth now. There's, no excuse for holidays or any of that nonsense. World Juniors is gone, so all the stars are there, if you want to call them that, for these two squads and what they've done this year. But yeah, I mean, it's my favorite series of the year for sure. There's just not quite as much animosity or hatred or whatever you want to call it with any of the other squads in the NCAA right now. So, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's better than I expected, coming out with a full win, not even in overtime, especially for the Bulldogs. I tweeted it out. It's really fun to be on the other side of a defensive zone turnover for once in my life. Good weekend series for sure.
Gage, how was the energy? Was it like old school hockey again, or were these teams playing a little differently? Were they, tiptoeing?
No, it was a hard fought game. I mean, both games were, and I watched the Friday night game. Didn't go to the game at the Ralph. I watched from my couch. But no, it was a good series. It was just a great series of hockey, close games. Both teams, have good skilled players. It's not like, they're bad teams at all. It's just, they haven't had the bounces this year, haven't played as well as they needed to, but both teams, it was fun to watch Spicer too. I'm sitting there thinking and he looked pretty good. And I'm like, fuck me, God damn it.
Yeah.
Fucking Grand Forks kid. Now he's taking a ton of draws for Duluth, and I don't know. It sucks, but no, it was great hockey. It was fun to watch. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy going to that rink and watching NCHC series. It's just fun. Like, it doesn't matter what the turnout is, really. I mean, if it's a close game, it's awesome. So, Yeah, was happy to get that weekend in. But let's move on to our predictions. We'll do the college slate first, and then we'll move on to the Minnesota Hockey Day. But the first prediction up here is BU, pretty good team at BC, which isn't a great team. On Saturday night, I guess BC's okay, but BU's minus 1.5 in this game. Who we got?
Am I going?
Yeah, you're going.
I got BU. No explanation. I mean, really, I should take BC. They're the underdog, and it's in BC.
Yeah.
I
It's
flip.
in BC.
I flip. BC plus 1.5. I mean, BU is by far the better team, by far.
Yeah.
But, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, this is the easiest bet in the world, and then slaps you.
Yeah.
I'm taking BC at home.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. If it's a home and home series, I almost always take just whoever's playing at home that night, especially for those East Coast hockey schools. And I want to do that again. I've just seen too much scoring come out of BU. I've seen them put down really good teams. And I'm on the record as saying BC is not a really good team this year. And I've been proven right time and time again. This past weekend with Quinnipiac, before that with Merrimack, and call me an East Coast hockey hater all you want. I'm giving all the love to BU right now, but I'm going to have to put somebody down because of it, and that's got to be BC. So I'm taking BU, laying the points.
Like it.
Yeah, I got to take BU too. I saw just this last weekend one of their guys, Brown. I'm not sure what his first name is, but he's just been lighting it up. So I don't think BU is letting this one slip.
It's tough not. I'm with Ols exactly on this one. It's tough not to take BU for me, but just watching that, this is a rivalry. This is a huge rivalry. These guys, they should hate each other. It's a little more than just playing another good team. And I just watched Duluth and UND do it. I don't know which team's better there, but they looked. It's a rivalry. It doesn't matter which team's better. They're both bringing it. So I'm gonna have to take BC in the points at home.
I like it. Bold.
Respect it. Don't think it's gonna happen. On paper, it shouldn't happen, but you never fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did want to mention I like these minus 1.5 games because last weekend UND's minus 1.5 and they're up 1 goal with 5 seconds left. And I'm watching, I'm like, the whole time I'm like, fucking empty netter, let's go. Fucking empty netter. And I'm like, no, you do not eat that puck. You do not eat that puck. And then Jackson Blake just rips it down the ice,
full ice,
straight in the net. Oh my God. I jumped out of my couch. I'm like, let's go.
I was so hyped.
It's the same thing when it's like the over-under in an NHL game is like 6.5 and the score is 4-2, and you're just begging the team down 2 goals to pull their goalie, and you're just screaming at the TV like it's the easiest thing in the world.
Oh, your damn goalie. You can get 2 here.
I mean, it keeps you rooting until the last second. You're always like saying, oh, there's a chance that I could just dump this down there and, cover the spread. So, it makes it a lot more fun.
For sure. All right, we'll move on to the next one here. Penn State at Michigan. And Michigan is favored by 1.5 goals here.
And it's Penn State at Michigan.
Yep. Saturday night.
Saturday night. Beachy, you go.
All right. So to start the year, Penn State in the Big Ten against ranked opponents, they went win-loss, 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 win-loss. So there was a bit of a pattern there. This past weekend, they played Notre Dame, who wasn't ranked anymore, even though they were ranked the last time they played them, went loss-win. So they're starting to reverse it. We're going on Saturday. I think they win on Saturday. They're going to follow the trend in reverse order the rest of the year and end the year at 500 just in 2 what do you call it? A palindrome when it's the same forward as backwards? Yeah, that's what it's going to be.
I like it.
So Beachy's got Penn State plus 1.5, or do you want to take a money line for the extra jus on there?
Hey, I've got one more nut than Gage, but it's not that big. I'm gonna keep it.
Love that. Gager, what are you thinking?
God, it's tough. Like now, if I'm listening to this and I'm listening to Veech, just what he said, I'm just like, God damn it, I'm hammering that, So I'm gonna hammer it with Veech. I'm going Penn State Saturday night. So
No.
yeah, I was just a listener there, and I'm like, oh, yep, that's the one I'm taking.
Mace, what do you got?
I keep getting screwed by Michigan.
No shit.
Oh yeah, so haven't we all?
I really don't want to take them. Penn State's higher ranked too. I'm going Penn State, and I'll take the extra sauce. I'll take money line.
I like that. That leaves me with Michigan minus 1.5. I would rather do a lot of things than take Michigan minus 1.5, but I'm going to take them Michigan minus 1.5 on Saturday because it
has to work eventually.
It makes 0 sense. And at this point, I picked them to win and they've lost, and I picked them to lose and they win. So congrats on your win, fellas.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Olson. That's great.
That's a joke.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the next one here. Sacred Heart at Quinnipiac, but it's not at Quinnipiac. It's just at a tournament in Connecticut. Quinnipiac minus 3.5.
Oof.
Well, that's
Such a rat line. See, here's the thing. Quinnipiac is great defensively. They've got a great goaltender, probably going to win the Richter. I don't know that they can score 4 more goals than Sacred Heart. If it was at Sacred Heart, I would be, hammering that line just because the new arena and it's going to be packed and this, that, and the other thing. Because it's part of a tournament, I'm taking Sacred Heart, but I'm grabbing every one of those points, and you're not going to take a single one of them from my cold dead hands.
I'm taking Quinnipiac. They're coming out buzzing. They're pissed off. Just got swept. They're a great team. They're going to win 6-0.
Mace,
I'm taking Quinnipiac too. Sorry, Sacred Heart.
I'm going Q-Pack as well, 7-1.
You guys suck.
I mean, realistically, Sacred Heart is a respectable team. Just got a new rank. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat them by 4 goals, but Quinnipiac's a fucking really good team.
Yeah, I've dogged him quite a bit this year. I reverse jinxed him last week with the picks that I had, so that worked out for me. Unfortunately for my wallet, but we're going a different route this week.
Yeah, I like it. All right, in last game, US U18 at Bowling Green. The US team is favored 1.5 goals.
I'm taking it. Give it to me. I'm laying the points. I'll lay the full 2, and I'll risk the push there. They have spanked too many really, really good teams, and the only way Bowling Green beats them is if who's their number 1 scorer? Swankler, right?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
If he scores,
this is a college hockey podcast. We should know that. Yes.
Yeah, we should know that. He's second in the league, in the NCAA right now for scoring. But if he comes out there and scores, a hat trick or 4 goals himself, then that's the only way they're going to beat this team. I mean, the U18 kids are just rolling everybody right now. They did lose to a D3 school, so that just goes to show you, college hockey, anything can really happen. But they've been flying all year, and they've looked really good.
Respect it. Gage.
Yep. You're right, Veech. It's Austin Swankler, and he's second in the nation in points. That's pretty good player. He's playing in the WCHA too, just an absolute muck and grind league.
Yeah. How many points are against Lake State? How many of his points are against
he's got 38 points. It says 20 of them were against Lake State.
couple of 10-point nights.
He's played them 4 times though, so 5-point games each night.
I've met a lot of good players from Lake State. Nothing against them.
Oh, that's funny though. No, here's my. You know what? Most of the time, I would take the under 18 team because they are nasty. They're gearing up for Worlds. I mean, they are so dialed in. That's like the best shape you're ever in your life. It's crazy, but they beat a lot of these college teams because the college teams don't really fucking care about playing this team. But a team like Bowling Green, like Minnesota, Duluth, North Dakota, those teams, they could care less when U18's coming into town. They're like, we have to play these motherfuckers, like, Jesus. Bowling Green, I think, is a team like, fuck these guys, like they're actually coming out there for blood. So I'm going to take Bowling Green in the points. I'm not going to say they're going to win, but it's going to be a close game. USA doesn't get the open netter.
Okay. Mace?
ND to be. They've been beating everyone this year. I think before we started, we said they're 11-1 against college teams this year.
Something close to that. Something really close to that. Yeah, they're
ridiculous. Yeah,
I don't think Bowling Green is going to be the one to take them. I'm taking NDTP.
All right, I like it. I like it so much that I'm going against you. I'm going Bowling Green plus 1.5. Strictly because of what Gage said. Most teams view this as kind of a bye week. I think Bowling Green kind of needs to get some mojo going. They're going to have their horses buzzing, so I think they keep it close. So.
Okay, so you're not going to lay the points. You're going to have to take them with Bowling Green.
I'm accepting the points.
Okay. I'm just the only reason I'm asking is because Bowling Green is going to come out there after a loss and a shootout win. So only getting 2 points against St. Thomas this past weekend. And St. Thomas is a much improved team, but they're still not what I would call, among the elites of college hockey. So
yep, it makes zero sense. That's why I'm taking it, Veech.
Okay. All right. Yep. I love it. And don't get me wrong. Like Bowling Green, they came into the year, they were supposed to be a much improved team themselves. They were supposed to be in the ranked, and then they were for a little bit, and then they had an 8-game losing streak or something stupid like that, and then they went on like a 6-game winning streak, and now they're just lost most of the points.
They're trending downward. I think Swank Dick is going to come out and score 3 quick ones.
All right,
I like it. The Funky Bunch over there in BGSU.
All right, I like it. Let's move on to the Minnesota Hockey Day predictions here. I want to start us off with the D3 game we have afoot here. St. John's versus Augsburg. This is going to be a pick 'em here. No line, just pick your team to win. Does anyone want to start us off with their
Yeah, I will.
Yes, here?
I will. I have a few reasons I'm going with Augsburg here. First off, the St. John's Johnnies is quite possibly the worst fucking name ever. So that's reason one. Reason two, Mark Wick is in that realm of the Augsburg coaching staff. So I know he's got his boys buzzing. And then my sister is an Augie alum. Shout out Augs. I'm going Augie's money line.
Augsburg is 67-50 against St. John's, the Johnnies, all time. Augsburg was 25-5 last season. St. John's, the Johnnies, finished 17-8.
All right.
I have something really embarrassing to admit to you guys. Growing up, when St. Thomas was still playing D3, and I think they still play D3 in a couple of the other sports there, but when they played the Tommy Johnny game, I always equated that to the baseball surgery and injury. And I thought it was like in remembrance of the surgeon or something stupid. So my dumbass just had that thought until like 3 years ago when somebody alerted me to the fact that it had nothing to do with that at all. So no, I'll eat that one. I'll wear it. With that being said, I've got no attachment to either one of these schools. I do know one girl that still plays for Augsburg right now. So I got to roll with her. So Augsburg money line.
Slam it.
It's the men's side, but I want her to have a good time.
Yes, slam it.
Yeah.
Slam the money line. Where are these odds available?
I laughed at Olson chirping the Johnny's name because that's funny, but I love the Johnny's nickname, the St. John's Johnnies. Like, you kidding me? It's unreal. What do they got a picture of? What's their mascot? Johnny Bravo?
It is, that's a tough name.
That's an all guys school, isn't it? Though they got St. Ben's next to it or something. That's a
I think
women's.
so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, no, it's nothing against the Johnnies. I am going to take Augsburg in this one as well. Just Augsburg's just a little more storied in the D3 division.
I like that.
So we'll move on to the next one here.
Mace has to go.
Sorry, Mace.
Let's go, Johnny's, baby.
Oh,
I'll take them.
Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do it. Congrats, Mace. You win.
Let's go. Let's go.
I respect
I like that. I like that pick, Mace. Let's go, Johnny's, baby. Let's go, Johnny's, baby.
Let's go.
All right, we'll move on to the next one now. Stillwater versus White Bear Lake girls high school hockey. This one's also a pick 'em.
Stillwater -3.
Ooh, tough. I'll say this: it is at 9:30 in the morning. Give me the home crowd. They don't have to get up quite as early. White Bear Lake.
Yeah, that's true. Stillwater versus White Bear Lake women's. Let's see.
Yeah, actually, let me get some records here.
I'm gonna kind of cheat a little bit before I see it.
I'm taking Stillwater. I'll get that out of the way.
Yeah, go Ponies, Mace.
Yeah,
And Neil Goff, we
Ponies.
trust.
Historically,
Ponies
growing up
for
in the
sure.
cities, Stillwater was always better than White Bear. Not saying White Bear's bad, but I've always seen Stillwater do better.
The White Bear Lake kids are too busy boating around in the summers on White Bear Lake.
I live
They're
in
not
White Bear
focused on
now.
hockey.
I live in White Bear now.
Watch Olson become a boat guy now. Hey, yeah, want to head out to a lake, White Bear? Fucking go. Oh yeah, he's already.
He's ready.
Let's go, baby.
In uniform.
He's going to be part of the White Bear Yacht Club with the elites up there and just sitting smoking out on the patio and watching all the rich elites roll around on their pontoons.
I live right next to the yacht club. I'm going to be a premier member over there.
Stillwater is ranked number 10. Their victory over White Bear Lake to start 2023. They've outscored their opponents 81-31 this season.
Yes.
All right.
-3. Let's go.
You got to take Stillwater.
Oh boy, they're 13-4, and White Bear Lake 7-14.
Oof.
Hey, home crowd. Gotta love it.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's going to be a lot of people out there.
Anything can happen out there. We all know that. So, yeah, I mean, did everyone go there? I went Stillwater. I think we're good there. Move on to the men's high school hockey game. Hermantown Nasty Jerseys versus Matamidi. I mean, Matamidi is typically pretty respectable.
Yeah, let's dig into this one a little bit more. We all know Hermantown's cheating, and they're very
Shut your filthy mouth. They play well within all of the established rules, regulations, and otherwise. They've got far below the required limit to move up to AA. They've got 2 losses on the year. What more do you want? Only one.
Why
of them
are
is
they
from a
not?
AA
Why are they
school.
not AA right now?
Why would they?
School size.
Why would they have to be?
Their school size is small,
Yeah, we're tiny school.
and
I
they
graduated with
They
122
recruit
people.
every Duluth kid.
Yep.
No,
And
it's
that's-
not even
that's
open
what they
enrollment.
say.
You can't do that anymore.
That's what they say.
All their parents just moved to Hermantown. Why not?
Yeah, because there's jobs
still
there.
work
There's
in
a
Duluth.
good economy there. It's not
They
their
can
fault
still
that
work
all
in
the
Duluth.
surrounding
Hermantown,
economy
Duluth's
is
like a 5-minute
garbage and going
drive.
down the toilet drain. It's not their fault that they
what
built up
Herman-
a great established, living space for everybody. It's not their fault that the weather's better on top of the hill. Everything is better up there, and it's not their fault.
No, I mean,
Regardless,
you know what?
Hermantown is
I'm
12-2-1.
not even-
I'll tell you guys this. Hermantown's 12-2-1. Matamidi right behind him in the rankings. They're 2-3 right now in single A. Matamidi is 11-4. So
Okay.
there's your info.
No, Matamidi is pretty good.
Yeah,
So do I get to go?
sure.
Matamidi!
You hater.
Right there, baby.
No, wait.
Come on.
Hey, I had a line on this one.
Oh, what is it?
I had a line on this one. Hawks minus 3.5.
Matamidi money line.
Hermantown is so much better than Matamidi.
Yeah, they are. Let's go with the normal goal and a half. And I still think Matamidi. I think Matamidi.
Yeah, we'll go that.
Okay.
That's probably realistic.
Yeah, I mean, Hermantown's only got 5 4-goal wins on the year, and only a couple of those came against AA schools too. So, yeah, they rolled out maybe their best jerseys ever just for Hockey Day Minnesota. They're going to add them to the rotation. Hermantown is coming.
They're adding those into the rotation.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the guys that does the broadcasting up there, and he was like, yeah, they're going to, incorporate them. They're not going to be their first, and they're not going to be their road, so they'll be specialized ones. I'm
going to go time out quick here. I just want to do a fun fact for you. Duluth East back in 2020 came out with retro jerseys to wear during Hockey Day Minnesota, and we got absolutely fisted by Minnetonka 7-1. We got absolutely fisted.
Was that before or after your coach refused to play Hermantown because you lost so much?
Because we beat Hermantown 8-2 consistently in Pee Wees and Bantams. They did get 2 against us.
Wait a second. Didn't Mike Randolph just beat Hermantown?
We're going to ignore that. Yeah,
St. Thomas?
Yeah, as a double A school, whatever. Yeah, he got his revenge, but he still doesn't want to play him. But anyways, yeah, I'm taking Hermantown. There's obviously no line that you could put out there that's going to make me pick against them right now. I'll ride for them forever. Didn't even really play there, so yeah, I just love everything about it. Call me a troll all you want. I don't think they should ever move to Double A. I want them to win 1,000 state championships and be the best amateur hockey team in America, because they are already. But other people will see that eventually.
I respect it.
I like they came to East Grand Forks. I went to the game. It was actually a pretty decent hockey game. East Grand Forks got some players, like they can keep up with those guys, but Hermantown, you couldn't even really notice a difference from their fourth line and their first line. I was like, what line's out there? I don't know. Like, they're just nasty. But they have sick style. Their jerseys are nice. Their gear is nice. They just have sick style. I was just looking at them like, fuck, they got nice uniforms. Like, they look fucking good out there, So.
I will say Hermantown continues to grow the game of hockey, where Duluth, it's diminishing. That's where I think the biggest difference is right now. Duluth is closing outdoor rinks, and Hermantown continues to find ways to get kids on the ice, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've said that for a very long time. That's the difference in their program versus everybody else. You can see it specifically from the time they built their outdoor warming shack and added those 2 extra rinks out there and made that ice time available, and the fact that those rinks are a central location between their elementary, middle, and high school, where everybody just kind of goes there after school. That's why they got so much better. It is a clear trajectory with that as the key piece. There is the availability and ease of access to that outdoor ice. And if other schools want their schools to continue to get better, that's the model to do it. And there's no argument to be made against that. So
yeah, that's fair. All right, let's get back on track.
Okay. I'm going with Hermantown. I think they're covering a goal and a half for sure. They're just too. I think Matamidi is a great team, obviously in single A, but Hermantown's, when you watch them on TV this weekend, they're really good. So I'm going to take them.
And I'll tell you guys this right now too. Hermantown is playing this year without either of the Plant brothers, who were their best 2 players last year, and they could be even better, which is a crazy thought to have. But with that added, They met Matamidi, I think it was 2, maybe even 3 years ago now in the championship game for single A. And Matamidi was way below them in the rankings and ended up beating them. So it's possible.
It is possible. Mace, what are you going with?
Probably out of surprise to absolutely nobody since I'm a city boy and I've lost to him a trillion times. I'm taking the Zephyrs.
Love that.
Let's go Matamidi.
Go Zephs. Come on, baby. Love that.
All right. I actually had a double A game as well here. Hill Murray versus White Bear Lake. And the line I sent you guys is not right. The line is actually -2.5 White Bear Lake.
Oh, okay. Well, I was taking the home crowd either way, the same way I did with the girls squad. Give me the boys squad at home. Even though they're playing the late game, it doesn't really matter what time you're getting up. It's going to be more in the time slot and the more familiar for those boys. I'm sure they've skated out on the lake there anyway. Give me White Bear Lake.
The Pios, just to let you guys know that the Hail Murray Pioneers are 6-8-1 on the season, and the White Bear Lake Bears are 13-2.
Okay. Wow. In knowing that my kid is many, many years away from joining this absolute dynasty up here in White Bear Lake, I just don't think they have the it factor yet. They don't have like the high school guy like, my kid's father had, watching and hearing stories. I'm going Hill plus 2.5. White Bear Lake's just not there yet.
I'm gonna ride with Olson there too. I actually am happy to see White Bear Lake with a 13-2 record here, and Hill Murray with a 6-8 record. The private school fucking kids. Don't mind seeing you guys suck a little bit, but that being said, I do have a couple friends that went to Hill Murray, and I enjoy all of them. They're beauties. So no shade to you guys. I actually think you're probably beauties, but just in the private school realm, I'm happy to see them at 6-8. So I'm going to ride with the hometown. Or actually, sorry, I'm going to go with the Pioneers to cover though on this spread. I think they'll make it close, but I don't think they're going to beat them.
Yeah, I'm right there with Gage. White Bear Lake's probably pretty good right now, but I don't think Hill Murray is going to give up a 3-goal game on Hockey Day, Minnesota. I think it's going to be a tight one.
Yeah, they are good, but is it an outdoor rink?
Yeah.
Give me Hill plus 2.5. Auto.
Oh yeah.
Auto. Put the fucking roll on it. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Hill Murray lost to Hermantown 3-1 earlier this year, so we'll see how it goes.
3-1 only?
Oh no.
I love it.
Olson, how is Duluth East this year? Do you know?
They're starting to turn their freaking wheels. I'm on their side more now than ever. My brother helps out with the JV squad. So they basically came in there and fully changed the thought process of that program. And they're right around 500 right now, which is much better than they were last year. And that head coach, who is my coach in Bantams, he's an awesome guy, and he's super smart. It just took some time to get rid of some of the old habits and switch over to the new regime, but we're on our way.
Yeah.
They look good.
Yeah, that's a little bit like East Grand Forks this year. Their record doesn't really portray the type of team they are and the talent they have, which is always unfortunate. I think it's just, you can say the same about UND and Duluth and whatever, a lot of college teams that don't pull it out. Not every year's your year, but I did want to bring up, before we got on from the high school topic, I did want to bring up the Grand Forks high school hockey and North Dakota high school hockey, just because I know there's a lot of listeners, and I just wish those Grand Forks kids could play in Minnesota, because like North Dakota does not take hockey, they don't treat hockey like Minnesota does. And the Grand Forks kids, and there's some in Fargo, they can just move to Moorhead though, and a lot of them do. That's why Moorhead's always good. But the Grand Forks kids, there's too much pride there between the teams. Like, you can't just move over to East Grand Forks. I mean, some guys do it. Some guys move over to Grand Forks. But, you can't just do it because you grow up playing with those guys and not everyone goes. So you have to stay there. And it'd just be so fun to see them, they're kind of in the same category as Hermantown and Duluth, where you can kind of move back and forth. And I know there were probably kids that moved to Duluth East back in the day when they were really good, when Olson was there. But they can do that kind of thing between Central and Red River. And if they could do that within East Grand Forks as well, the area would be able to put together a pretty powerhouse team every year. And it'd be fun to compete with Moorhead. I know Moorhead would obviously pull ahead every so and on, but I think Grand Forks would have the greater Grand Forks area would have the stronghold there, I think, over time. But it would just be fun if you could somehow make that happen. I don't know. It's probably not possible, but it'd be awesome to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, right now, as it stands anyway, I think East Grand Forks is 4th in Single A. So even without the additional help from across the river there, it's a respectable squad, and they've had their own successes over the last 4 or 5 years here. Maybe it's been longer than that. My memory's failing me, but it seems very similar to like the dynamic between Superior and Duluth, where Superior has a really good squad for Wisconsin hockey, but Wisconsin hockey just isn't quite the same as Minnesota hockey when you're talking about the high school level either, where if you took some of those guys and you put them on some of those Duluth teams, you would have absolute powerhouses that I don't know could be touched, but just because you've got some good guys playing with some not so good guys and kind of dragging them down a little bit, you don't get the same level.
Yeah, we used to teabag Superior.
Yeah.
I remember we even East Grand Forks would play Superior in some tournaments. We'd always go to Duluth to play tournaments. We had Hermantown and whatever the Denfeld schools. I don't know what they're called. Yes, Perp. How you doing?
Up, Perp?
Burp.
What's up, boys?
Perp, you hopped in on a great time. I was just talking. If East Grand Forks and the Grand Forks schools could opt into playing Minnesota high school, we'd put together a fucking powerhouse.
Oh wow, yeah. have you already talked about it all, or where you at on that topic?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just was saying I wish that was a possibility because, Olson was just making fun of Hermantown, and Hermantown's kind of doing the same thing where kids move there from, they kind of choose to play at Hermantown. But, if we could do that in Minnesota with the greater Grand Forks area, and I was saying we'd battle with Moorhead and obviously Roseau and Warroad still, but and Moorhead would win every once in a while, but I think we would have the stronghold.
Well, think about it. You got all the kids from Central, Red River, you got all the East Grand kids. On top of that, you got any good kid from Crookston's probably going to a private school in Grand Forks. All the Grafton kids are probably thinking about jumping ship and going to a private school 35, 40 minutes away. I mean, it would be an absolute juggernaut, at least in my opinion.
Do you guys play in the Elite League? Are you guys allowed to play in that?
Oh, yeah. Great Plains.
How does your team do?
We won the year I played.
Pretty good. We had I think our Great Plains team had like Brock Nelson and some other stars on it, so we were pretty solid.
Decent.
Yeah, that's not bad. I was just curious. I mean,
Olson was about to chirp because he probably dusted the Great Plains team.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. They were absolute cheeks the years we played.
I think that what year are you, Olson?
I played in 2012, so just 1 year.
Yeah, so you'd have been like a year after me, I think. Or
but Olson's pulling in Grand Rapids kids, kids from Hibbing, Greenway, all these guys that are studs, that's not realistic. That's at the same town, all right? The whole Great Plains team, was a couple Roseau, Warhead, it wasn't the same back in the day.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, if you take a look at just like from our era, Ozzo, I don't know if you remember, like you'd have a decor of like Dewey, Tucker Pullman. I mean, down the line, we'd have some absolute studs on D. Our D would be. But
what you're not remembering though is what's crazy about high school is these guys back in high school weren't that big of studs. Like they just developed into studs. Like Tucker he barely even made Elite League his senior year, and that guy was like 5'10". Now he's 6'3", 225, 3% body fat. Like that guy wasn't playing high school hockey.
Yeah, Dewey was 5'10", 160.
The amount of there, it's funny to think how good some kids are in high school, but how much time there is left before you actually get to either college or even the NHL. It's just there's so much time left there. Like
the road is so much different for everyone too. Like the development path is just like there is no right development path, or there's no one size fits all. I feel like if each of us told our story, it would be wildly different to get where we ended up. It would be I mean, Olson is probably through the USHL. You went development program. I played in the North American League. I mean, it's just everyone does a different route. It's just, and every guy has like unique stories. 1 year, 3 years, 10 teams, one team, straight out of high school, just grinded their way up. It's just everyone's different. It's crazy.
That's funny. And we, all roads lead to Wednesday night, beer league. It's just what it is. It doesn't matter if you make her to the NHL. It's just all roads lead to Wednesday night. And it's just a great tradition. I'm excited to play some more beer league on Wednesday. Just, everyone ends up there. It's great.
I'm strapping up for the first time in 2 years next Monday. I skipped out. I pushed it off one more week, but next Monday is my debut in White Bear.
Man, are you prepared for it, Ols? What kind of shape are you in right now?
Miserable shape. Perfect. I appreciate you asking, though.
Well, I'm in the same boat. I don't think I could even step into a city league game and have the lungs or the energy to even get like a second shift.
I didn't. The skate I do on Wednesdays, it's not like a league. It's just a skate. A bunch of guys get together and you pick teams and you just play against each other. And for some reason, we all decided to go hard. Like one guy was going hard, so everyone's like, "Fuck this guy, I'm gonna go hard." So we're all like just wheeling around out there. And I hadn't skated in like 2-3 weeks, and my lungs, like it just feels like I have blood in my lungs. Like I'm coughing up. Like it's terrible. It's a terrible feeling.
You guys get like that burnt esophagus feeling when you haven't skated?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, I'm so out of shape right now. This sucks.
You feel like having like an asthma attack?
Yeah. Just so you know, I felt that way when I was in shape in college.
Oh yeah, me too. I had the worst lung capacity, I think, in all of Division I sport.
Ever. It was awful.
Do you think here's my question? Do you think if you're a guy who conditions a ton, you work out hard in the weight room, you skate, you bag yourself on the ice, you're one of those guys. Do you think, there's people out there who just have better lungs and it doesn't matter what you do, you can't be as better? You think is that a thing that people deal with?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
For sure. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, there's guys that barely did anything and they could just absolute haul during conditioning.
Yeah.
Some like the laziest guys you'd meet that did no extra conditioning, they could just jump on the ice and just like leg out a bag skate. Where me, I'm like small stride and lungs feel like they're going to explode. Legs are quivering at the end of each skate. Like, and I'm like working my ass off to get in shape and I'm just struggling.
Yeah. Retweet.
I mean, I feel like a lot of that has to do with how well your blood carries oxygen, and there's a lot that goes into that too. Some genetics, some diet, some how much you're actually exercising and stuff like that. But if you're blessed and born with that, I think that's the best route because you can only go up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I don't think, and I can't speak for Olson, but I feel like we're on the same page. I don't think our diets did us any favors in college. I don't think the Saturday, Sunday beer regimen helped on Monday bag skates either. But
I had just about the worst fucking routine ever. I mean, Jimmy John's was a block away. I had it 6 times a week, and we were getting free food at the rink. Like I was just calories.
I didn't eat healthy in college either. I mean, you did like a little bit, but your lunches and I mean, the food they were serving us at the rink was terrible for you. We were eating chicken cordon bleu. It was just fried like chicken nuggets with cheese and ham in the middle of it. Unbelievable. And we're all just eating like 3 pounds of it. It's like, that's not good for you.
Mashed potatoes and gravy after a fucking bag skate.
after our games, there'd be fucking pep in the locker room after some games. Saturday night, you walk in, there's red pepper grinders in there. You're just dunking them in white sauce and just hammer them home.
Played on the fourth line, had like 6 shifts, 7 shifts, and you crushed pizza like you played like a triple overtime game.
Exactly. You play 7 shifts and you go in there and eat more than anybody else in the room.
Oh, the pasta! Like I feel like I earned like 2 huge plates of pasta after 4 shifts.
The best was pre-game meal. You go in there thinking, oh, today might be my day. I might get 20 shifts, and you just hammer pasta all day, and you get 4.
It's a special teams game.
You gotta be ready. Hey, you gotta be fucking ready, though. Like you gotta make sure you're ready on the bench. So you gotta eat that normal amount of pregame meal, like if you're gonna play 30 minutes.
How screwed did you feel when the game got going and right away there was a penalty out of the gate? You knew you were getting like 4 shifts that game. Like
it was over.
When the refs got involved early on, like you knew you could get comfortable.
That is such a great point. You get up and your shift's about to go, penalties called, then all of a sudden it's the TV timeout, and then all of a sudden it's 8 minutes in before you even touch the ice.
You were always up when the penalty, the TV timeout. Or
how terrible is it when you hop the boards in the TV timeout?
And you're just like, all right,
now I'm on the bench for another 6 shifts.
They cycle right back to the top. Like you'd be lucky to get another shift. And then you look up and they're always at like 12 or like I don't know what they're all at. There's like 3 of them, I think, and every time it's like the perfect amount of time for the fourth line not to get a shift.
I used to love playing the games that weren't on TV. You wouldn't have the TV timeouts. So you just don't get that TV. Like if you're on CBS, like goodbye. You're playing 2 minutes.
Yeah.
or you get out there for like a quick 20, like it's 15 seconds in a whistle. You're gonna stay out there, but then the TV time goes out and you're just back on the bench.
Oh yeah.
I used to love the end of the game where you get like you'd step on the ice like I don't know if they did it at North Dakota, but Walt would be like, guys who aren't playing, get on the ice. The guys that were playing, we get to use the bench and catch their breath. And like, I do a little twirl around out on the front and like kind of look at the crowd like I was about to go out towards the end of the game. And I just hop back over to my spot.
Oh man.
I love that moment, those times, especially, or even a D zone draw, you hop out, goalie covers the puck in your zone. You're just looking up like coaches are like, all right, get the fuck up.
Or the other team hops their first line on you and you look at your bench and here comes your first line after like an 8-second shift.
Yeah, playing at home is much worse in those scenarios because they match lanes. So
on the road, you're like pumped, you get stuck out. You're like, sorry, I can't change.
Good and bad, because if you're playing a good team, you might be hemmed for a minute and a half. But
that's where the bag skates come in, and you're not good at those either. So you're just
Oh, that's funny. Well, let's move on to the college hockey talk here. I wanted to talk about, just what's going on in the college hockey world. We just had St. Cloud sweep Denver, big time. Cornell sweeps Quinnipiac out east. No one saw that coming. Great series, Michigan versus Minnesota down in the cities there. We'll talk a little bit about that. I did want to mention the Perp. We've all got the NTDP beating Bowling Green, who's leading the CCHA right now.
really?
Yep. So, well,
I
have Bowling Green too, but I have Bowling Green too, but I still think NTDP pulls it out. But what do you have to say about the CCHA right now? Do you have any thoughts? Like, what's going on with the league right now? We got Bowling Green leading the league. They're 14-13. Your Northern Michigan Cats are 500 right now. What's going on out in the UP, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, so the CCHA, it's kind of, I think we talked about it before. I think it's somewhat down of a year for them. They don't have the one team that's kind of like they've had in the past, where Mankato was kind of always at the top of the standings and Tech was for years before that. I think it's kind of just like a mosh pit. I think actually I could be wrong. I'd have to look at the pairwise, but I think Mankato and Tech both actually creeped into the top 15 in the pairwise. I'd have to check those
12
numbers.
and 14 right now.
Yeah, I think I saw that, and I don't know. It's I don't know what to expect out of my boys up north, but I am traveling up there this weekend, so I could have a different perspective after seeing the Cats take on the Huskies this weekend in the UP. But yeah, as far as CCHA goes, I think it's wide open as far as who could win that conference in a tournament or, even the regular season. I don't know how tight it is. I could pull it up real quick and just take a look. But, I mean, it's probably going to come down to the same old, Mankato, Tech in the mix. But Midgey's always a tough out, even though the Cats just dummied them on Saturday night. But always look out for the Cats, though, right? That's kind of what they say. Is that the old saying about the CCHA? Never count the Cats out and always look out for playoff time. Is that
I've actually heard that just through the grapevine a couple times. Just people saying that.
It's just an old saying. It doesn't mean it's true, but I think people say it. Never count the Cats out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that conference
I should have a better idea of what the league's looking like after I go up to Marquette this weekend. So maybe have me back on and I'll report back.
That actually sounds like a hell of a time getting up there and getting on the old stomping grounds. Are you going to go back to like the same places you went to when you were at school there, or what?
Oh yeah, I got a whole itinerary. I haven't been back there in 5 years, so it could be a different look. But yeah, I got a whole itinerary. I'm probably gonna have to stop by a couple of the college bars and see if I still got it. But we'll see if it's still the same. I feel like they probably roll the red carpet out for a guy like me, but they probably don't know I'm coming. So.
Veech, yeah, what do you think about this league right now, the CCHA? We've got Bowling Green. They're in first place in the CCHA. I know they don't have the best record, but
right. Yeah, I mean they're number one in the CCHA right now, but they're like 25 or 26 in the pairwise. They're well below Tech and Minnesota State, and then Bemidji is right behind them there too. I think any one of those four has a really good shot, and I think they've got like the favored odds. But like you just mentioned, I mean, Northern Michigan, they've got some scoring power, and they might not have the best defensive scheme this year or goaltender. But if they get on a scoring spree and get hot, there's no stopping a team like that when you've got the momentum in your conference tournament. So, yeah, I think any one of those five teams, I wouldn't be surprised. I expect to see Tech and Minnesota State just the way that they have been playing and, being a little bit more consistent than the other ones. But if you told me that any one of those five won that conference tournament, it would not shock me in the least. The ones that would surprise me, obviously, St. Thomas, or the biggest surprise right now would be Lake State. I don't think that they've got a shot, if we're being completely frank and honest. But yeah, the rest of them in there, it's a pretty close race. And like you mentioned, I think we could see quite a bit of turnover and shuffling going on the last couple of weeks here.
What a tough draw it's going to be for whoever pulls the CCHA champion in the tournament, because it's always a grind. Those teams are always just a grind. That'd be a miserable matchup your first game in the tournament.
UMD, they played Michigan Tech to start the tournament last year, and I think the Michigan Tech Hobie favorite or whatever ended up getting a 5 in a game in the first period, and so he was out right away, and that kind of took all the wind out of their sails. Not that I think UMD would have lost to him anyway, but it was still a close game. I think they only ended up winning by 2. I think that everybody from any one of those schools knows that they've got to put in a little bit more effort. They might not have the level of talent on paper that some of these other schools have, but they're used to just grinding it out anyway. So I think it's always going to be a good game.
I can tell you from playing in that league that when you go from playing in the CCHA, like a game, like say you come from a Bemidji State, then you go play not necessarily an NCHC team, but a Big Ten team or a team from like another conference, the game is so much different as far as like when you go, say you play Bemidji State, then you go play Wisconsin, there's so much more time. Like you're not getting hit. It's not physical. It's back and forth. And if you have a decent defensive scheme and you're physical against some of those non-physical high-flying teams, you can really catch some of those young kids completely off guard, and they can just be shocked into a game. I think you saw it with Bemidji State and Wisconsin a few years ago. Wisconsin was kind of flying high. They had some pretty skilled players. I think Caulfield was on that team in the NCAA tournament. And Bemidji went in, and everyone was like, you see all these brackets people make, and everyone was picking Wisconsin. And I'm sure some people took Bemidji, but I remember thinking I would actually put real money on Bemidji winning that game, just knowing the type of team Bemidji is and how hard they play. And I don't think Wisconsin playing a Big Ten schedule was ready for that type of physical game. And, you have 24, 25-year-olds, playing in their last college hockey games, hoping to get a shot at pro against 18, 19-year-old kids who, maybe don't even know what it's all about at that point. So, yeah, like you said, like it's a different type of conference, different style of play, but anybody who draws them in a tournament, definitely you're not going to get an easy out. I mean, you may end up winning by 3-4 goals if you get ahead and whatever, but I mean, it's going to be a physical game and you're going to feel it when you play a CCHA team.
Yeah. And I don't think Caulfield in his time there, specifically referencing that tournament, I don't think he played a trap defense or a trap scheme at all in college.
And if you've never been funneled at the blue line, at the red line like that, you really don't know how to get by it. I mean, even for us, like when I played, it was always you felt like we were a little more skilled than like Bemidji State, but like you could not get past their blue line without getting a check finished on you or hit.
CBS line couldn't even get through those fuckers.
No, you had to put it behind them. And then if you did win a puck race or game possession, it was going to be like every time you touched it down there, you were getting a heavy body every single time. I mean, you didn't leave those games. I mean, not to talk about myself too much, but my right shoulder is from Bemidji. My torn labrum is a Bemidji game. So, I mean, those guys they're heavy and physical and not fun to play. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, that's good for the CCHA. It's good to get the CCHA some attention. Let's talk some big dogs here for a little bit. The NCHC. No, I just said that as a joke. No, but we'll get on to the NCHC here. I just kind of want to. I always like this time of year. It seems, and I love St. Cloud. I'm a St. Cloud fan. I like what they do with their program, their organization. But that being said, recently in the past, history shows they're first in the conference right now. Yep. Is that coming yet again? They're obviously the powerhouse in the conference. It has swept Denver. Are they going to choke once again, or is this the team?
I have my doubts, and it's only because of the history, but also this team has had some astounding losses this year. They've lost to Miami. They've lost to Bemidji. They've lost to some people that are just frankly, way worse than them from a talent standpoint, from a size standpoint, from like everything on paper. They've got a great goaltender. I think they stole him from Colorado College, if I remember right, through the transfer portal. And they've got, those Finns are still there, and they've got Crookshank from Minnesota. So, I mean, they have enough talent, and they've got enough size and experience and whatever it takes to be there. But they just find a way to lose those surprise games every single time. And I don't know how you get away from it until it just happens. So until they win it all, I'm going to bet against it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think playing on that big sheet for half of their games and then going into the tournament where everybody has to play on a small sheet, do you think how big of a
they don't even have an NHL sized practice rink?
Yeah.
It's an Olympic size. That has something to do with that, I think. I mean,
I would think it has to.
We're speculating, obviously, but yeah. For sure. If I'm a coach, I'm thinking that for sure. I'm like, we got to get an NHL-sized practice rink in here.
I might have to text Brett Larson and tell him to give me some pads and a jersey. Bring back the old Sioux City days. That guy used to play me like a horse.
Here's a question. Here's a question for you all. How long would you need to train to step back out on that ice and play 10 minutes in a college D1 game?
I could do it today. The only reason I say that 10 minutes, that's essentially my time. That's essentially what I played in college.
Your hands are not what they were when you were playing.
They don't have to be. What am I, a fourth line 10-minuter? Am I playing net front? I promise you I could stand net front and do exactly what I did in college.
He's got more size now than he did
No,
then.
you could not. You were fucking good with the puck, breaking it out. You're not getting minutes if you can't break the puck out.
You guaranteed him 10.
Gage, I asked you to come
Yeah,
watch.
but I'm asking how long it takes for him to train to get to the point where he earns 10 minutes on the team.
Got it.
All right, fair enough. If I have to earn it and they're not just tossing me in, like I'm saying, if they toss me in right now for 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. If they just gifted it to you, yeah. I'm saying you gotta like the coaches gotta be comfortable with giving you 10 minutes on the ice.
3 weeks.
Really?
I also said 3 weeks. I had this argument in the Wednesday night locker room the other day, and I said 3 weeks as well.
3 weeks.
3 weeks hard diet. And that's the thing when you get older and you're a little. I mean, you just think a little more clearly. I think, and it's like riding a bike, right? Like you get back into it. But maybe maybe I'm completely off. Maybe it'd be never. But
for me, it's easy because I can't get slower than when I played. I mean, honestly, like Gage mentioned, my hands and like my vision and stuff, it'd take me 3 weeks to get that back. I wouldn't have my legs back, but it wouldn't matter because it's not like I'm getting up to speed. My speed is pretty topped out right now. So I would say 3 weeks to get the feel in my hands, to get my shot back and all that stuff, 3 weeks.
See, mine was my game relied on a lot of skating. You know, you can't get burnt back there. Like you got to have a lot of trust in the coaches to be put back on D and given minutes in these games that mean so much. Like it's tough for me to say 3 weeks, but you have confidence in yourself, right? And shit. But yeah, I mean, you give me 3 weeks, hard diet, hard workout. I'm fucking skating. I'm doing everything I can. I mean, I don't know, man. Like now I don't have any fear out there. I'm like, fuck it. You know, like I think my mindset's a little different.
100%. If I were to be implanted back in the hockey world, my mindset would be completely different. Knowing the end game, my mind would be completely different playing hockey now.
Yeah. Nothing to lose aspect. Like,
but yes. Anyway, back to I think St. Cloud doesn't. I think Denver. If they play Denver in the tournament, I think Denver wins.
How about Omaha? They're third in the NCHC right now. I mean, when does that happen? You know,
I mean that the entire rankings in the NCHC is not quite completely upside down from what I expect, but to see Omaha and CC and I mean Western was kind of up there already, but they're outperforming what anybody thought that they were going to do this year. It's crazy to me to see what it looks like to have North Dakota at 7 and UMD at 6. Nuts.
No,
it's like
that's bad.
Yeah,
that ain't good.
I mean, when was the last time UND went on the road and UMD went on the road for a NCHC playoff series?
Forever.
Yeah. Both of them? Yeah, forever.
I don't think they've.
Or even UND and UMD. When was the last time UND did?
Well, UMD did last year, but
UND has never been on the bottom side of the NCHC rankings or standings.
I don't think
I only remember one time as a fan dating back to like my little kid days that they were actually not any good or at the top in general. And that was like the first year in the new Ralph. I remember it was like Ryan Beta was their top dog back in like 2001. And that team was atrocious. Other than that, they've always been towards the top or at the top of every WCHA, now NCHC standings, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know. That's crazy.
Different world. I mean,
it's a tough game. That's what should, you know, if you just did it every year, it wouldn't be as appreciated, as respected. People get a little dose of reality. Like, hey, this is real life. You go through ups and downs, you know, like it's not all easy out there. It fucking takes a lot of work.
But hey, wouldn't you kind of expect it after a certain amount of time with the NCHC though? Like,
yes.
Teams like Colorado College.
You can't keep doing it
Omaha,
year in, year out. It's too hard.
Well, just in general, though, you'd have to start thinking like just from a recruiting point, like and with the transfer portal being a thing,
Yes.
guys are going to start going to the places like CC, Omaha, just to play in the top conference. You know, they have good years elsewhere, and then they end up in, you know, CC or Omaha or wherever. And like, it's just going to make the league stronger top to bottom, at least in my opinion it is. I don't know your guys'
100%.
viewpoint on that, but I feel like teams like the old days of like there being like a real top and bottom of the NCHC might not be the case anymore. Maybe one team has a really bad year, but like all the teams are probably going to be fairly competitive. And if there are other conferences,
the only team in the NCHC that surprises me since the NCHC started is CC. When we were growing up, CC was always like, holy fuck, Colorado College is coming to town. They had a good team almost every year.
Powerhouse.
And they haven't been good in a while, but that's the one team that, I mean, they're fifth in the NCHC right now, so they're two spots ahead.
Those silk tarps.
New Barnes, Colorado Springs is unbelievable. I mean, you're in the NCHC, not a very hard place to recruit to once you have all the amenities, right? At least you wouldn't think so.
The school is like an art school, so like no one wants to get a degree from that school, I don't think. But
yeah, but people don't mind living in the Springs, playing at a brand.
I wouldn't mind it. I know whenever we traveled there, it was pretty nasty. So
Yeah, I mean, talking about the transfer portal, I mean, we already mentioned the guys that went to St. Cloud, and that opened up a spot, at least at goaltender for Colorado College, and that goaltender's had at least 2 shutouts against UMD where they put up 45 or more shots, and he's just played out of his mind, and sometimes just getting that opportunity, you can do that. But, you know, what you had mentioned before, Perp, about people transferring to these schools because it's the elite conference, like, you saw it out of Casey Dornbach going from Harvard to Denver, where he wants to play on that team with that talent in that conference and get the more recognition and have, you know, maybe a bit of a better shot at the athletic side of a career rather than just the academic side. And it happens every year. So I don't think that we're going to see it end. We've seen it in North Dakota with, you know, goalies specifically, but other defensemen as well. So I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
One thing I was thinking about is like St. Thomas, that new facility. How much do you guys think that's going to help with recruiting? I mean, for sure, a ton. But how long do you think it's going to take for them to actually be like a top competitor in the CCHA?
I'll tell you this right now. I don't think St. Thomas stays in the CCHA when we get 5-6 years down the road. I think they join because they've got all the money behind them. I think they join the NCHC, and I think they're welcomed.
I think they will. I think they will likely join with Mankato whenever that happens. I think they'll just expand the NCHC, and Mankato and St. Thomas will go in together, and they'll realign something else, or you know, they'll figure it out that way.
Yeah, we already talked about it, and this was a pretty big story as well. I don't remember who it was from Miami, but he had some qualms with going out to Arizona with the potential of them joining the NCHC, and they're already going out there to play Arizona. They already go out there to play Denver. They're already going west to make all these trips. So I don't see the difference in it in having another team out there, but they seem pretty opposed to it. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them, you know, leave the NCHC and make room for 1 or 2 of these other teams.
For sure. I mean, I think every – I don't know. I guess I don't know the exact number of years, but it seems like every 10 to 15 years you see some sort of shuffle or teams move conferences or realign just based on geographical location or different reasons, you know. And I think it would make a lot of sense. I don't feel like St. Thomas playing in the CCHA. I mean, it's good for them right now as they get their bearings and whatnot. And, you know, it could be a good league for them for even 10 years. I mean, if that's what it was, but with that building, you're missing out on so many great rivalries right in the city with St. Cloud, Minnesota, Duluth, 2 hours north. You got Bemidji. I mean, it's just another Minnesota team, right? So, like, why would you lose out on that? They're going to get great recruits. I mean, not even from Minnesota necessarily, but just all over with that facility, that school campus. Like, they're going to be a player right away. And I don't think with the financial backing that St. Thomas has, it's going to be. I mean, there's no way.
Can you imagine? Hey, buddy, we're going to give you probably a $70,000 a year scholarship to go to school here, and on top of that we'll give you some extra money to spend on fucking food and booze. You're gonna go there.
I think there's no realistic time frame for them to be a competitor, but I think it won't surprise me when it happens, you know.
It'll be as soon as that rink is built. It's like Penn State, just like Penn State. They build that rink, bam, good team. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Who doesn't want brand new facilities? And I mean, it's the same thing with Arizona State. You're seeing some of the guys transfer there too. They had to play in some garbage before they had that finally finished. But now that it's done, and you're going to see kids touring and that campus, like
that's why the teams spend the money. That's why they spend the money because it brings it back in.
And it's right back to the portal, right? Like all of a sudden you have, a decent foundation laid, and then you bring in one or two guys that all of a sudden make you a national contender in a blink of an eye. Like it could happen really fast if you have the right foundation and you start recruiting guys now that you tell them, by your sophomore, junior year, you're going to be playing in a brand new facility in St. Paul. And like, this place is unbelievable with this education, this campus. And then all of a sudden, you go from being last in the CCHA to fifth in the CCHA, and then you grab 2 transfers and boom, you're right to the top and you're a player instantly.
Think of all the guys that commit to the Gophers and, things don't go their way, or they sit out part of their freshman year and they've got that transfer portal. Where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go right next door to show the Gophers why they were, it just adds that chip on their shoulder. So it'll be interesting to see.
And another thing you think about too is like, there's a lot of Minnesota kids that go play college hockey, and it doesn't work out for everybody where they go right away. St. Thomas is a roadmap home, right? For some kids, like, not saying that's everybody, but you play out east, you don't play a lot. You get a little bit, where should I play now? Oh, I can go to St. Thomas, play in front of the family. All of a sudden you're, a kid where it didn't work out at BC or Michigan or wherever you went. And then now you're back in Minneapolis playing in front of your friends and family, right?
100%.
I mean, that happened. UMD lost a kid to St. Thomas this past year. I think Ohio State lost a kid to St. Thomas, and they're both local. And it's just like, I want to go play in front of the people that I know are going to be there, and it's just familiar. So
and you play for the fans too as a kid, as much as you don't want to admit it. But any place that's got a full stadium, you're going to want to play there if you're a good player. Like it makes it so much better. Like we could have and that's why, we could have the Ralph Engelstad Arena here in Grand Forks, but if there weren't fans in there, no one would fucking care about that rink. Like what's the point? It was like going to the old Omaha rink. You'd play at where Creighton plays basketball. I forget what it was called, but it was just huge. Yeah. And it was just 20,000 like seats in there, and it's just like no one's in there. It's like, this is stupid. Like it's way too big.
Did they put curtains up top too to block out the top deck?
It was almost like the Target Center. The Target Center for the NCHC Frozen Face-Off. It sucked.
Ass.
Terrible. Does it for the Big Ten? We'll move on to the Big Ten now. Does it do anything to that league championship that Minnesota just wins it every year? I mean, they're 10 points ahead right now. They're going to win it again this year. It's like they win it almost every year. It's like, does this league championship mean all that much?
I think it still matters to them just because the other top dog in there being Michigan is always a threat just because they have, the second most this year, but almost always the most NHL draft picks. Minnesota is very close behind them, always, if not just ahead of them. But past that, you're seeing people like Penn State and Ohio State and Michigan State coming back up again this year that they're all kind of fighting for a little bit, and everybody wants to knock the top dog off. And it's kind of going back to what we talked about with high school hockey earlier, is if you've got a target at the top, you're always playing with a target at your back, where it's just like somebody's always gunning for you, and it adds a little bit of intensity whenever that team comes to town, whether it's Minnesota or somebody takes it over in the future. It adds a little bit of something. Now, where it kind of, deteriorates or deters some of the other stuff is where you have some of the lower teams playing each other, like a Wisconsin this year is going up against Michigan State or something like that. Might not draw as big of a crowd because they're both, out of it as far as the contention goes for winning.
The Big Ten drives me absolutely bonkers because there's opportunity to fill the seats, and with some of those matchups, they just physically can't. And the way the scheduling is too, I just think that there's a lot of work there. Obviously, football takes precedence, but there's got to be some kind of way to get around that. But as far as the hockey goes, the Big Ten scares me strictly because of the point Perps brought up earlier. Big Ten is fast and skilled and up and down the ice sheet, where if they come into contact with some of these, heavier schools, older schools, I just don't see a ton of success out of the Big Ten because of that reason. When it comes to playoff hockey, it doesn't matter how skilled, and it literally, you could put up 50 shots and lose to a team that put up 10. Like, it's such a crapshoot, and I'm going to take the older, wiser, more physical team every time in that regard.
You saw it in Minnesota versus Minnesota State last year in that, Frozen Four game, where it was just Minnesota State had all of the size because they were so much older than all the young talent on the Minnesota team, where it was like, sometimes you just cannot beat size and experience on the ice. It's like the older brother or the dad strength when you're trying to wrestle them or fight them. It's like they always have the upper hand because they always know what's coming next because they've been there before.
Yeah.
And it's just really tough. And once in a while, you're going to see some of those schools just go on a scoring rampage, and that's how they're going to win those games. It's just a boat race. But if you're getting into a knockdown, grinded out kind of battle, it's hard to see it any other way than taking the bigger team.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the CCHA. We talked about the NCHC. We talked about the Big Ten a little bit. We'll talk about the other leagues next week. I did want to get into our nail guns of the weeks and our candy asses of the week. So we'll move on to the fun stuff here. And obviously the fun stuff's always brought to you by Butter Golf. And we'll get into the nail gun of the week. Does anyone want to start us off? I know I asked some people about their nail gun of the week on Twitter. I want them to send me theirs. I'm not going to read them off this week because I want to wait till I have more and more people know about it. So send me in your nail gun of the week and candy ass of the week, and I will read them off next episode. But does anyone want to start us off with their nail gun of the week here?
We just got one sent to us online. Brock Nelson sitting on the bench right now, ripped out his tooth. I don't know what happened to put him in that position, but traditional hockey guy move, just right on the big screen there, pulls it out and hands it to the trainer like it's no big deal and doesn't blink an eye. And I'm sure he got right back out on the ice and dominated again.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's wild. I just saw that.
Yeah, I just saw it too. Yeah, just pops out his jib. Like it's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was going to go. Who's my nail gun? My nail gun of the week is usually football related because I dial in to the football games on the weekend before these podcasts go. I'm going Joey Burrow. Going into it, he's missing two of his offensive linemen. The whole talk is Damar Hamlin and how Buffalo is gonna, and that's an awesome story, and it's freaking great that he's back and healthy and moving in the right direction. But for Joey Burrow just to block all that shit out and then go into Buffalo and win that game, that just takes some nails. So that's my gun of the week.
I like that.
Nice.
I got two ones. They're going to be pretty quick. First one, I'm going to go with, it's a terrible pick, but I'm going with Ezekiel Elliott for absolutely taking one on my last one. I mean, he hiked the ball, backpedaled, and just stuck his hands out. I mean, I was dying. Oh my god!
Do you think he was supposed to be involved in that play? Like he was supposed to shed a block, and then it was just poorly ran. If that was what was supposed to happen,
I think my theory on that, Olson, is why he hiked up. I don't really know, but I feel like in some crazy scenario, like they had so many people running downfield, he'd be maybe one of the last guys to get a lateral at some point.
Yeah,
is my theory, but I don't know if there's actually was a drawn up reason for it. I have no idea. But I was trying to wrap my head around the logic of the play, and I thought, well, maybe he snaps the ball, and then as it develops, he ends up with it somehow at the end, runs it in, behind a caravan of people. But that was my thought.
I just thought it was so funny. I mean, he just stood there and took the hit like a champ. Oh my god,
it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And then my second one, I'm going to shout out the Duluth club hockey team. One of their guys lost in fantasy football or something and had to go in front of the entire stadium during one of their games and sing the national anthem. And let me tell you, he did not have a good singing voice, but it
was
was so
terrible.
nails. He went up and fucking did it, dude.
I could never. Unreal
I would
call out, Mace.
Die of shame. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they just catching L's all over the place. He did it with a smile and laughing the whole time, knowing exactly what was going on and how it would be received. So props to him.
And they're recording it too right in front of him. Like,
Oh yeah.
he could not hide.
I got a quick nail gun. I just popped into my head here. I wasn't prepared with one as I popped on late here, but I don't know if you guys caught the end of, I don't want to say was it Saturday or Friday night? Maybe Friday night's game, St. Cloud and Denver. Our guy, Mason Sahlquist, buried an empty netter. It was his first goal of the year. Guy who's been on this pod, battled through some adversity. He had a huge 5-on-3 kill, a couple blocks in that game. So shout out to Mason Sahlquist, grinding through a long season here and finally getting rewarded. All the boys were celebrating on the bench. They all sallied like they just won the game on that empty netter, which I guess they sealed the game, but they were all pretty fired up for him. So that's a pretty nails empty netter from the other end, playing in a big situation there at the end of the game. Big time penalty killer. Finally got his goal on the year. So shout out Mace on that one.
Love that.
Great to see. Got the has-beens bumped there a little bit. Guest on the show, friend of the show. Great call there, Perp. I love that. I wasn't even thinking of that. I saw that. I was pumped about it. That's awesome. Great for him. Veech, did you have one?
Yeah, I got another one. The Canadian Blind Hockey League. Every one of those guys. I shared it from the Has-Beens account with the Nails hashtag on there. If you don't know, I would highly recommend you go and watch it. If you can't read the description on there or don't have the time to and you just scrolled past it, every one of the players has to have 10% visibility or less, and the goalies have to have 0% visibility. So these guys are out there literally flying blind. They're not running into each other. They're not running into the board. They're playing like pretty solid hockey. The puck is much bigger and it's got like ball bearings or something in it to make noise. They're ripping it around. It is insane. If you told me that this was like, an oversized high school team, I would believe you. These guys are nasty with it out there.
Yeah.
They're awesome. And I don't know how they do it. We talked earlier about how hard it is to stand on one leg when you close your eyes. And these guys are out there literally playing good quality hockey. So shout out to those guys. Absolute nails.
That's awesome.
When you see that stuff, it makes me think Helen Keller's a little more believable. I've had my doubts a little bit. A blind. I mean, if you're telling me a blind and deaf person can read and write, shut the fuck up. Jesus. You're telling me dinosaurs are real and all this shit. Now you're telling me a blind and deaf person can read and write. Most Americans can't even fucking read and write. You're telling me a blind and deaf person can do it. Seriously, you've never thought about that? It's insane when you think about it. It's like, okay, that's as believable as fucking Santa Claus.
Just believe in one thing, just something.
Oh my God.
Sorry I had to bring that up. No, that's nails, those guys. Yeah.
I got another quick one.
Yeah.
I think Cole Smith got his first NHL goal this week. Yeah. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Bench was going crazy.
Love that.
Shout out to Smitty. I know Smitty's agreed to come on, so we'll get him on sometime. I'm sure he's going to get asked by a bunch of guys now, but great call, Mace. I'll start with mine here. As always, mine are very random, just stuff I saw, but I'm going to shout out a girl named Sarah Rector from Oklahoma. She was a multi-millionaire back in the day, being an oil baron. She was a multi-millionaire by the age of 18, okay? She's an African-American woman in Oklahoma back in the way back in the day, when it's, sorry to say it, but when it wasn't as great to be an African-American in America as it is now. So she becomes a multi-millionaire, learns how to she's a very smart girl, learns how to basically drill for oil and starts selling it. The state of Oklahoma declared her as a white person all the way back in the day. So the state declared her as a white person. If that's not nails, that's like the most nails thing I've ever heard in my life. back in the day. So I had to shout her out. I mean, that's just wild history for you guys, but bet you didn't know about that. Now you do.
I honestly don't even know what you just said there, Gage. I'm trying to wrap my brain around what you just said.
It's true.
I don't know if you just made this up. You were talking about how believable Helen Keller and Santa Claus are, and I don't know what kind of story.
Pick up a history book. This is how it was. You know, I mean, that's just I didn't live back in the day. It's just how it was.
Hey, shout out to her for being a successful businesswoman for both the minority and women and everything else that she's a pioneer.
If you think about what it took for like even her being a woman and African American at the time in Oklahoma, I mean, for that sequence of events to happen, I mean, that's just insane.
I respect it.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to my next one now. UFC fighter I watched. I didn't get the guy's name, but I'm watching this on Twitter. He's ground and pounding this guy. He knocks the guy's mouth guard out. He stops, grabs the guy's mouth guard, puts it back in his mouth, and continues to TKO him. So that is fucking nails.
It's
he
also
grabbed the mouth guard, shoved it back in his mouth, and kept just
beating. It's like good sportsmanship and like humiliating for the guy on the ground.
Absolutely humiliating.
But it's also like, here, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Like,
again,
you better have this in. Like, I don't want to kill you.
Yeah. And then my next one here was it was a quarterback. His last name was Leftwich. I didn't look this one up, but
Byron
I saw the video. I think it might have been Byron Leftwich. I don't know. Was he a quarterback back in the day?
Yeah, played for the Jags. He's the OC for the Bucs, or maybe the head coach now.
Well, I don't know if it was him, but this guy was playing for Marshall in college football. But I saw it after Mahomes injured his ankle. This guy was playing for Marshall, so that it's like there's like 2 minutes left in the game. He'd throw a pass and he'd complete it, and they'd have to run up and like hurry up offense. The offensive line would have to carry him to the next play because he couldn't move his ankle.
That's Byron Leftwich. I just looked it up. He played for Marshall. He's the OC for the Bucs.
It's so funny. Yeah, he throws like a 60-yard pass, and the offensive line's just carrying him 60 yards down the field, and he's just sitting there like this. Just and then they plop him down and just catches another one, throws another pass. Like,
I've never seen that. Funny. That's insane.
Yeah, you'll have to look up that video. But
it's actually
I just showed him out. Obviously, I had Al Pearson. Dusky already mentioned him. And then my last one was I saw a guy transporting a full bee colony with the queen bee in his fist. I don't know, like it's just absolutely ridiculous. If you see the video, you're just walking through the middle of a town with a bee colony on his arm, and they're just all sitting there, and he's just like talking to people. Like, it's nuts.
Who do you follow? I know you get all these from Twitter. Who are you following where you see all this stuff?
Well, there's a bunch of different accounts. I can send you a list later, but I don't know them off the top of my head. But whenever I see a good video or something, I'll click on their account and see if they tweet good stuff, and if they do, I'll follow them. So I get a lot of content from there, obviously.
I want to throw a honorable mention to the slap league that I've been seeing around social media. Shit. Every single person that joins that slap league is an absolute nail gun. I saw the one guy with his face like this fucking big, and he won in like 16 rounds or whatever.
Did you hear Stefan Diggs' interpretation of the slap league?
No.
Yeah, that was so funny.
God. He was like in his like hotel room, or maybe it was his house. I don't know. It looked like a fancy hotel, probably just his house. Yeah. But he was like laying in bed and just being like, just narrating the entire sequence of events, and it was actually hilarious.
It was so funny. He was like, "Look at this guy, he's about to slap." He's hilarious.
Like, guy says guy wants to be famous. Well, you're famous. He was like,
yeah. I don't know what I think about that league. I'd rather never see that stuff again. It's absolutely just ridiculous.
Yeah,
like they're just fully giving each other CTE every time they hit each other.
Pretty fucked up.
And then we'll finish it off with our candy asses of the week. Did you guys happen to put any time? Did you think of any candy asses you want to shout out this week?
Yeah, Dak Prescott is my one and only. Strictly strictly because I had the Dallas Cowboys +3 in the first half. They had the ball on the 27-yard line of San Fran with like 1:30 to go, and he threw a pick, which led to San Fran kicking a field goal and me pushing the bet, but I didn't win it because of Dak Prescott, so he can eat shit and die.
Love it. Agreed.
I love that. I love that pick as well. That was a brutal divisional round game by a guy getting paid that amount of money.
Yeah. That brings in the conversation. Is he really worth it? I don't think so. I think Dak smells, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, what kind of idiot throws it short of the sticks on the last play of the game? Just a loser move.
I saw your tweet, you fuck. Yeah, Kirk Cousins. I know I don't know what to think of Kirk Cousins, but yeah.
Did you guys see that stat that came out today? I don't know if it was on Twitter or what it was on, but every team the Vikings beat this year has been eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah,
or didn't make the playoffs.
Really?
No team that has beat Kirk Cousins. I don't even think no team that's beat Kirk Cousins has made it to the Super Bowl ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sorry, that Kirk Cousins has beaten.
Kirk Cousins is beaten. Yeah.
Yeah. It
also came out that the Vikings have the most first and second round losses in playoff history.
Nice.
That was a stat that came out today too. So it was a good day for a Packer fan who had a down year. So
don't we also have the most Super Bowl losses without a win?
The Vikings
you guys definitely have the least amount of Super Bowl wins. I know that for a fact. You guys are tied for that one.
Shut the fuck up.
I think the Vikings are tied with Buffalo for 0 for 4. Buffalo did go 4 in a row and lost all 4, so that kind of hurts a little bit more.
That's worse. The Vikings are 4th in NFL history with divisional playoff games played.
But they lead in losses.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've played. They're always a playoff team. We don't, that's the thing about NFL teams. Once you win, every season after that sucks. So that's why, like, the Vikings never win, because we always have hope to win the next season.
Yeah, and then everybody gets mad at me for spitting facts on Twitter. Everybody gets mad at Trevor for being a real fan and knowing what our team is and isn't, and I get yelled at.
Hey, I'm on your side.
Fucking ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone else have a candy?
Yeah, I'll make fun of basketball players again. This time I'm not going to make fun of children. I learned my lessons from people who were making some mean comments towards me for making fun of the little kids out there. So I'll take it to the pros this time. Dylan Brooks, candy ass of the week for sure. He's trying to pick a fight with Shannon Sharp, and all these guys want a big, act tough, but the second they get, jawed back at a little bit and they don't shit talk as well as the guys from the NFL with more experience than them. They just want to get him thrown out of the game. And, LeBron James got roped into it too, being on the Lakers side. He's had people thrown out, but then he's going to stand up for Shannon Sharp doing it here. Just a contradiction, a living asshole. So basketball players as a whole, I have no respect for them.
And then how many sports do you have a star player on the court? His dad is right in the mix of it on the court.
You would chirping.
You'd never see that anywhere else, that there's an actual person's father on the court. Not even like in the stands up in a suite. He was on the hardwood going nose to nose with a NFL Hall of Famer who's in a disagreement or an argument with Dylan Brooks, a Memphis Grizzlies player. Like it's just like a absolute insane scenario.
That's why the NBA is kind of nasty. It's so nasty though, because it's like the WWE, like off the court, but it's actually a real fucking game being played, and they're nasty at it. But like the whole like show of the NBA is like so like staged and like just ridiculous. Like I'll see videos of Kyrie Irving walking around like Kyrie and Kevin Durant aren't playing a game and they're just dressed up on the sidelines, and they're just walking around the court talking to fans, like chirping. I'm like, it's just ridiculous. Like they're playing the game and they're just walking around like chirping.
Yeah, 100%. They know it's a show and they make it a show, and props to them because they make a ton of money off of it. It's, the men's version of all those Bravo shows, Real Housewives of God knows what county or country or city that they're sitting in. And it's the guys' version of that. Like it is just drama and there's just basketball in between. That's what it is.
You actually got to give Dylan Brooks a little bit of credit in his interview. It was pretty funny where he calls Shannon Sharp a pedestrian. And then he at the end he's like, "Hey, that's LA though." Like he's just a casual, that's LA though, right?
That's so good. Mace, did you have a candy ass of the week?
Yeah, I got a couple. First one, pretty obvious. The Vancouver Canucks management. I mean, shit's a disaster. I mean, I'm not saying there's a right and wrong way to fire a dude, but why is this shit so public and interviewers are asking questions about it? I mean,
before it even happened, it was just horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's just embarrassing for the Vancouver Canucks. And after last week's episode, like, it totally opened my eyes, and I see like it completely different now. So
yeah.
And like such a well-respected coach like Boudreau, like the players are backing him up, but it's turned into like this public saga where they could have easily made like a clean cut, like respectable, but it turned into like press conferences of, people asking like impossible questions for the guy who's like just trying to save some dignity and do his job, but he's facing the toughest media market there is, or one of them. And people give the guy, the GM and the ownership group for the Vancouver Canucks a ton of shit anyway. I don't think they do a lot of things right, but
yeah.
My next one, I'm going to go with Fox 5 Washington, because right after Bruce or Joe got fired, they mispronounced, I think, every single person on the team's name wrong.
Didn't they call them the Vancouver Canucks too?
Yeah. How do you fuck that up?
Were they doing it on purpose?
No, it was. I mean, you could tell like she obviously like didn't know what she was talking about, and like she was trying, but then like nobody gave her any info before, and I don't know. I felt bad, but I mean, you gotta know what you're talking about.
Yeah, is that not on her for not doing a little research before she starts talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the two I had to shout out.
Yeah, I also had Jim Rutherford and the Canucks organization for the handling of that as well. I also had to go. I know Veech had Dylan Brooks. I had Shannon Sharp as a candy ass as well, because I love Shannon, and he's not a candy ass. I mean, he's actually a nail gun, but he pulled a candy ass move because he's on this Undisputed show talking like just last year, saying like, if you're a fan, like you don't say anything to those players, like they're playing the game, like you respect them. Like I would never say anything. And then he's on the court like, "You're too small to guard him, bro." Like, he told Dylan Brooks like, "You're too small to guard him." Like talking about Braun because he's boys with Braun. And then Dylan Brooks like chirps back, and it's like they're both at blame, but it's like, Shannon, like, like you literally just contradicted yourself. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, I mean, I love Shannon, but it's hilarious that he just did that. But I had him, and then I also had, not to get political on you guys, but I had the CNN reporters in Atlanta who were saying the protests were peaceful. It's like the line, and like the reporters like, yeah, the protests have been mostly peaceful, and in the background, there's like 18 buildings on fire. And it's like, okay, you're a candy ass for listening to your fucking studio heads telling you like, oh, you have to say it's peaceful. Like, just report what's actually happening. There's buildings on fire. It's not peaceful. So I just had to mention that. It was just hilarious. I saw it, and it's like the picture. It's like, all right, like, quit listening to your fucking studio heads. Everyone's obviously, doing stuff for money, but every once in a while you might have to go against what they're telling you just for the dignity of yourself, right? So
Screw the media and politics. It's all a scam. I'm out.
Facts.
Yeah, but it's a fun scam though. It keeps you interested. I mean, what else are we supposed to pay attention to, right? I mean, we're all players in the game.
Anything besides look into politics.
Literally anything.
Yeah.
If I see the news on, I'll turn the channel. I think the news is the most depressing thing on the planet. There's no point to it.
Oh, it is.
War.
Find me a cucumber patch, Gage. 3 sets of 10. 3 sets of 10 and a cucumber patch. Deep body spots. Right on it, brother. I ain't fucking politics. Shit his ass.
It's entertaining. It's fucking hilarious. It's like a real life. It's like a reality show that's real life.
It's entertaining if you cross the line into like being passionate about one side or the other. If you're just kind of in the middle, it's kind of just like this side's talking about this again.
If you accept that none of it really matters, it's fun. It's fun to join along, and I mean, it's fun. But I mean,
I do enjoy your tweets though. I don't agree with all of them, but I do enjoy it. You've kind of turned into like, since Trump got kicked off Twitter, it's kind of like I just tune into Gage's timeline.
Yeah, I don't agree with all of my tweets either, but I send them. Just like Mace said, I should have a lot more drafts, but I send out whatever I want. And sometimes I'm like, fuck, I probably shouldn't have sent that. I'll delete it, whatever. Fucking, it just happens. Whatever.
No, I actually respect it a lot.
Twitter, I'm fully aware that it's Twitter. It's not real life. It's stupid. And people are on there like, are you kidding me? You're killing people by saying that. It's like, no, I actually didn't kill anyone.
I'm actually being serious. It's one of my favorite things. Like I see Gage gets on a string of like quote tweets. I'm like, I dial right in. I start looking at the comments and the replies. It's like I used to do that with Trump when he was on just because of the drama, but now I do it with Gage. So it's like
I will stand by that. Twitter is by far my favorite social media. I think that shit is fucking hilarious. I see so much shit on there when I'm sitting on the can or something and I'm just dying laughing to myself. Some of the responses on some of these tweets are just fucking hysterical.
Oh, I saw this one guy, they always do the Twitter threads and they're like, they'll like have a caption and then they'll be like thread below, like read it. And there was this guy, like, he's like, here's how to treat your mornings or whatever. And he like starts talking about like what he does at night to prepare for his mornings the next day. And he's like, at 8:30, start journaling for 30 minutes. At 9, like drink 36 ounces of water and like start meditating for 15 minutes. And it's like, and then at the end of this 10 tweets thread, it's like, now if you want to learn more, sign subscription here for like $58 a month. It's like, shut the fuck up, buddy. Like, this guy doesn't fucking do that. Like, are you kidding me? This guy's not journaling every night at 8:30. He's like, I have 12 kids, a wife, and I journal at 8:30 for 30 minutes every night. It's like, shut the fuck up. No, you do not.
It's like those TikToks where it's like a day in the life of like the day traders or whatever. It's there is no way you're doing all that shit. Cut the fuck. Hell the fuck no.
It's so funny. Oh, I died laughing. I sent one out. I'm like, I will pay anyone $1 billion if this guy actually fucking does this. Like, there's no way. But no, I think that was a great episode. It was fun. We got Dusky on for a little bit. Perp popped in. I got to talk some college hockey and some Minnesota Hockey Day. Thanks for coming on, fellas. That was great.
I wore my Minnesota Hockey Day shirt because I thought I was going to catch you guys on it, but I got on a little too late. Proud member of the Minnesota Hockey Day 2022 with the Edina Hornets. So
that's a nasty
hoodie. Yeah. Hell yeah. Perp wears that out when he goes out to dinner with his wife.
Actually, there could be a last name on the back. I've never actually worn it.
Yeah.
Gotta get a number on there.
I think there is
69.
C for coach.
Got all it's mostly just advertisements, though.
I was gonna say, isn't this a frozen pizza brand?
Yeah.
We the founder owners of Bellatoria, their daughter's on our team, so we got.
Oh yeah, of course, Edina. Yeah, probably worth $1 billion.
We got all the sponsorships here.
That's awesome. Well, great episode, guys and listeners. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in once again. And don't forget to send your nail gun and can yes of the weeks to me. And thanks for coming, and we'll see you all next week.